live. That was funny. I couldn't hear it. That was weird. Alive and alive on the north side of the 30, it's your man D-Real coming at you. And if D-Real is here, that means Theo B is here. And if Theo B is here and D-Real is here, that means it's Friday Vibin. Hello and welcome, everybody. As you can see in the middle, it's not Moni. It is the one and only Mr. Ray Smith. And say hello to the Rock With Me Nation, Mr. Smith.
What's up, Rock With Me Nation? We about to get into this. We about to get into some people's grills this evening because I'm here for the smoke with Christopher Priest. I'm just telling you.
You know what? It's crazy. It's crazy you say that. I know folks like, why is Theo bobbing his head? It's because I hear "Nuck If You Buck" by Crime Mob right now. It's playing right. Nuck if you buck. Nuck if you buck. Nuck if you buck. Buck. Yeah, we ready. But before we do that though, before we jump off into things and everything like that, first of all, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for pulling up this evening.
Oh man, no problem.
Old school comic book fan. We got my brother Daryl, Big D. Be real with D real, old school. Listen, we got the OGs. I'm a OG. These the OGs. I said what I meant. I meant what I said. But before we get off into tonight's festivities, because it's gonna be a great show, I received the package in the mail this week. Now, I had planned on doing a separate video, and then I was like, I don't want to do that. Then I was gonna do it on my live, and I did I don't want to do that. And then I started to do it on one of the random lives. I say, you know what? I just want to see the person's face. Like if I'm gonna do it, if we're not gonna do it right, then let's just not do it at all. And so I got this thing in the mail right here. You know what I'm saying? I got this little package. And so I got this little thing right here, right? This little thing right here. And we gonna be kids with it. We gonna get all off into it and everything like that. Like we gonna. Oh man, where my tools at? Where my tools at? Oh, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah, it looked like the person who sent that to you packaged it up real nice and tight. So what happened?
He prior service, so I understand he was making this thing bomb-proof, you know.
Hey, I was a trusted shellback. I gotta make things white or tight so they can maintain their integrity.
Maintain their integrity.
That's right. That's what it's all about.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
I knew I had this daggum thing around here. Using my daggum teeth.
Okay. All right, Blade. I see you cutting it up.
He's being surgical.
Well, we don't want damage nothing now. We don't want that. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, that big chunky.
That's a nice looking figure. That's a
big chunky. Yeah. We one action figure away from having our armor wars. Yeah. I love
that's
that.
Nice.
And ladies and gentlemen, this comes our way. Notice I said what I call sharing is caring, right? This comes our way, courtesy of my big brother Daryl. So, brother, thank you and everything like that. This, look at him. This, y'all, I'm just gonna tell you. Don't throw this at nobody. You're going to jail.
That's a heavy piece of plastic. That is a very heavy piece of plastic. Man, don't throw that at
you're going to jail. I'm telling you now, it's gonna be attempted homicide. That's what they're gonna hit you. So, but now we got that. I want to start the show off with a smile and everything like that. We're gonna jump all off into this thing. There's been a lot of controversy this week, and a lot of misinformation.
That's what it is.
A lot of misinformation.
Somebody hit Prince controversy for me.
A lot of and it's crazy because once again that type of controversy comes with misinformation.
Yes,
from both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
So when we were gonna have our show tonight, based on everything that took place, I want to reach out to someone who's my elder, not just my elder in comic books and action figures, but my elder in life. And that was Mr. Ray Smith. And so I say, hold on, let me holler at my brother because I ain't in this by myself. What you think? Big bro say, hell to the yeah. So the way we gonna do the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is we gonna do the show like this. I'm gonna STF you. We got the old school comic book fan. We got the old school comic book reviewer. I don't know what questions necessarily to ask. If I think of some, I say something in. I ain't got the knowledge that Mr. Ray Smith, so I ain't necessarily got the answers that Mr. Ray Smith don't have for those questions.
All right.
So without further ado, we're gonna turn tonight's show over to my big brother Daryl and my elder, my mentor, Mr. Ray Smith. Gentlemen, y'all take it away.
What's up?
Okay. Well, I had kind of started in last night. And I feel like, well, we took about an hour almost, close to an hour just of the show talking. And I was like, I was some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but the conversation had gotten so involved that, yeah, I messed around. And I was like, oh my goodness, we've been talking about this all this time. And you know what? I ain't even scratched the surface. You know, where I was at with it was as a reviewer. Okay. The first thing I said was, did y'all see the review that I did 2 months ago? before this even came out, you know what I'm saying? So about talking about, oh, you didn't, no, you didn't, and how y'all. Let me preface by saying the controversy then was, is this an AU tale, meaning an alternate universe? It don't matter.
Nope.
Because the ramifications are going to reverberate across all iterations of that character. So you're not assuaging me when you say it's an AU story. Yes, an AU story, but hey, the Falcon that we looking at in the MCU today is more 1610 than he is 616. So as far as I'm concerned, it's being orchestrated by the person who, now that I look at it, and I know everybody here military, all it take is one oh shit to mess up 1,000 attaboys, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is this Christopher Priest? Oh shit. No. Casper Cole.
Yep.
Now, if y'all are angry about T'Challa, whether voluntarily or being forced to turn the mantle over to a half black, half whatever person, this is not new territory. Furthermore, if we go even further back to one Reginald Hudlin, didn't T'Chaka adopt a white child?
Oh, I'm about to get into that.
How come we didn't have this unanimous outcry then, like we're having right now? I'm gonna let you jump in right there, Mr. Smith.
Well, first of all, we got to go back.
Mr. Smith, real quick. You know what I find interesting? It's crazy how the white men and the black women want to all keep it in the black family, but us black men just want to screw it around all over the place.
Well, got to get our swerve on, I guess. See, so to your point, D-Real, it's not an AU story; it's an FU story. That's what this is. I told you, I'm coming, because when I found out about, I think I was looking at your video about what was Theo's, about this new kid on the block that we don't know who the mama is, but he light bright, all the way white. So let's go back to
he look like Sabretooth's son.
So let's go back to Christopher Priest run and um the that news article, that interview that Christopher Priest that I sent to you guys. In that article, if you read it and you post that link, he talked about his favorite character was Daredevil. Black Panther was not his favorite character. So when he was talking to I believe it was Joe Quesada and Palmiotti, they called him and he was like, "You mean the guy with no superpowers that stands in the back of the photos of the Avengers, like the school photos, and he looks at this big scary monster and says, 'That's a big scary monster, Thor, go hit him.' That he's not interesting enough. He doesn't do anything. I don't want to do that guy." And so he, from the beginning, did not want to write Black Panther. And then so they kept after him and they said, "Well, what about a Coming to America art?" Yes, sir.
If I may, because I have the article pulled up here. Daryl, he sent it to us on Instagram. If you could share it with the
I'm doing that right
now. I know you are.
I'm gonna go ahead and read this. This comes to us by Adventures in the Funny Book Game, Chapter 11, Black Panther series commentary, official website of Christopher Priest. I was so excited, fan favorite artist and new Marvel Knights honcho Joe Quesada and I had been missing each other's phone calls for a week. But I knew he wanted to talk to me about his new Marvel imprint. This was it. I thought I was finally going to get my dream shot. I was finally going to get a chance to write Daredevil. I was a little horrified when the words Black and Panther came out of Joe's mouth. I mean, Black Panther? Who reads Black Panther? Black Panther? The guy with no powers? The guy in the back of the Avengers class photo whose main job was to point and cry out, "Look, a big scaly monster, Thor, go get it." That guy? No, Panther was not the move. Panther was, by any objective standard, dull. He had no powers. He had no witty speech pattern. Bub. His supporting cast was a bunch of soul brothers in diapers.
Come on, keep going. Oh, I'm coming on.
His supporting cast was a bunch of soul brothers in diapers with bones through their noses. King T'Challa is by necessity a man of secrecy and cunning, which is difficult to illustrate if he has thought balloons over his heads, telling the reader everything he's thinking. Or worse, he's narrating his own story and blathering on and on and on. Hard to convey cunning from a motor mouth. Also, Panther was a Black superhero, and the most basic economic lesson this business can teach you is minorities and female superheroes do not sell. But kudos to Marvel for trying to do both with the Black female version of Captain Marvel. But Joe and his partner, inker Jimmy Palmiotti, were adamant the book can work. It's crazy.
Yeah.
White guys had more confidence than the Black guy. That's.
But if you go further in that article, he said the guy who jumps out of windows in the kitty cat suit.
I'm going, Mr. Smith. I'm going. I'm going. This is a you here. We got it. Going back. So by Joe and his partner Jimmy Palmiotti were adamant the book can work. They insisted if we have a fresh approach, perhaps along the lines of Eddie Murphy's Coming to America, where the crown prince of an African nation comes to America in search of a bride. Given that kind of energy, taking Wakanda and the Panther seriously and concentrating on how people react to him, that approach might have a chance in the market. Get him out of the jungle. Bring him to Brooklyn. Make him a night creature, a fearsome African warrior, a manner of Black man most Blacks in Brooklyn have never seen. Nah, I was still unconvinced. Look, guys, we're talking about a king, a Black king of not just an African nation, but a powerful nation with advanced technology capable of posing a threat to U.S. national security. A king who is prone to occasionally leap out of windows dressed in a kitty cat suit. If this guy and his nation actually just existed, there's no way the U.S. State Department would let this guy wander around unescorted. and the CIA would be constantly trying to figure out what's going on in Wakanda. There'd be all manner of global and domestic and racial politics involved.
Let's start right there, though. Let's start right there, though, because he said there's no way that the State Department would let him walk around unescorted. Namor does it all the time. Dr. Doom does it all the time. That was the dumbest thing. Okay, what in a litany of dumb things that he said in that article. And so, I'm so frustrated with Christopher Priest. It reminded me of when In Living Color was on TV, and Fox was, getting involved in trying to make decisions, and all of a sudden the Wayans were leaving. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Damon Wayans came on the stage at the opening of the show, and he said, "Before I sell out, I'll get the L out." And he walked off. What we see, if you keep reading and there's other articles about Christopher Priest, what you see is his loyalty is for sale. So all of us are prior military. We know what would happen to somebody if we found out that was the case. That person would come under friendly fire. And but see, that's the term they use. I don't think any fire is friendly. That's just me. So this is the unfriendly fire to Christopher Priest. I hope somebody tags him in this, because I want them to send it to him, because I want to have a conversation with him, because he's a sellout. So when you say that T'Challa and Aurora got married and couldn't have a child, but all of a sudden in this future, because if you look at what he said in his other interview recently, he said this story had been written for a long time. It just took them a long time to put it out. And he's giving T'Challa a son with some unnamed person. Maybe it's Jean Grey, because everybody got the hots for her. Who knows? I don't know. Emma Frost. Who knows? But he's got a child with some unknown individual. But he couldn't. They could not allow T'Challa and Aurora to have a child, which in the future they do. They have several. So he is what I would call, he's starring in the sequel to Sleepless in Seattle. It's called Clueless in Cleveland. This guy is a moron. I don't like him. I don't like anything he's done. And let's go back to what D Real was talking about on his run with the 62 issues that he did.
Real quick before you do that, Mr. Smith, quick. So going back to the Black Panther movie, I'm just gonna make sense. I'm gonna connect the dots.
Okay.
The person that got paid the most wasn't Chadwick Boseman. It worked.
Nope.
And ironically enough, the person that had the most screen time in that movie wasn't Chadwick Boseman either.
Nope.
Everett Ross made the game-saving play. We all saw that, folks. With it. Well, I'm gonna read this article, and y'all just tell me now. It makes sense.
Yeah, keep reading.
This guy, with Ross in place, the book began to take shape. Ross became the key to making the book work. He was the voice of the average Marvel reader, who no doubt wondered why Marvel was bothering with another Panther series. Ross's monologues began to steal the show, offsetting the mysterious night creature, the man of few words whom Ross was attached to. The monologues were often outrageous, with Ross interpreting the Marvel Universe through his everyman eyes rather than the eyes of someone who's been reading comics all their life. It was a new voice, one seemingly hostile towards the Marvel Universe and by extension its fans. But actually the intent is more to be a social observer and deconstructionist.
No. See, what he did was he had already created Everett Ross for the Khazar series.
He said that. The guys loved the idea, and we started hammering away at the details. The character's name was literally Chandler for the first couple of weeks until I settled on Alex P. Keaton vibe in Everett K. Ross. Most fans assumed him to be a one-off of Michael J. Fox, and Fox could certainly bring him to life, but I was writing Chandler. not Alex. I had Ross appear in Kazar 17 as a warm-up of sorts, a run-through with the quick-witted, sardonic half-pint who effortlessly got Kazar off an attempted murder charge.
Yeah. See, so his whole point, if you read other articles, interviews with him, was his whole point was black comics don't sell. Nobody's interested in black characters. And even in that article, he talks about they don't have any powers. Well, whose fault was that? That was the fault of the creators. Now, if you go, and I've talked about this before, if you go back prior to 1985, the only black superheroes in Marvel, I won't speak for DC, but for Marvel, the black male superheroes, all they were either a strong man or a glorified acrobat. 1985, Fastos was introduced, and Eternals, Volume 2, what is it, number 5. That was the first cosmic-powered black male superhero that you got in Marvel, and he was a pacifist. Why? Because they didn't want the optics of a black man being that powerful. What's his name? Kevin Grievous. He alluded to it with his Blue Marvel when he introduced Blue Marvel. It wasn't a good look to have a black man that powerful beating up others who don't look like us. They not like us, as Kendrick Lamar said. So that was the whole point. And Christopher Priest fell into that. And instead of standing 10 toes down and holding the line for black men, he said, you know what? I'm going to sell out and I'm going to write it to appease to a white audience. He says that in his interview. He didn't care about black people. He talked about the black movies and the black CDs, how our culture is portrayed, and it wasn't going to sell. I'm sorry, but what I see is everyone else trying to emulate our culture. That's what you can't even deny that, because even right now, there are more white singers singing R&B than there are black. So
come on.
They are trying to take over what we have already established. And we are just giving them the keys because we have too many people asleep. Hello, Christopher Priest, you are sleeping. You are not woke. And so when I saw him in his leather, jacket trying to look like Shaft, no, we got the Shaft from him because he sold out. Because he said that the Black Panther would be a guest star in his own book. He said that in his interviews, that he would be a guest star in his own book, and that he still will carry the book, even if he's only seen a few times and only had a few lines. How is that even possible? How are you a guest star in your own book and you're carrying the book? Somebody please explain that to me. So this man has done more damage to the legacy of Black Panther. He's on a par, for me, with the guy who I won't even mention. That's how bad I don't like this guy, because everything that he does is from a selfish perspective. One, he did not like the character, and then he's trying to, in a later interview, he's trying to paint it as if it wasn't his call, all the changes that were made with the Black Panther during his run. He alluded to the fact that it was the higher-ups who forced him to bring in, as he called it, Vin Diesel to replace T'Challa. Because
didn't I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead, man. It's okay.
Didn't Christopher Priest write under his government name?
Jim Owsley.
Yeah. Like, did a lot of people not know that Jim Owsley is Christopher Priest?
Yes. A lot of people didn't know that.
And so my thought is on this comment right here from Urban Guru, is it just me? Or did Priest Kitty Cat comment sound suspiciously like Sam Wilson's dig at T'Challa in Civil War? We all remember that interview. Also, let me say this about Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest did Batman. Ain't that a guy in a bat? Ain't that a guy dressed up like a bat?
And it has no power.
The guy in the bat suit.
Has no power.
And it has no powers. Okay, ain't Falcon the guy that dressed up in the bird suit that ain't got no powers? Why are we sitting around trying to take away from T'Challa when it's not the characterization of T'Challa so much as it is what he represents. He represents something powerful. He represents something strong. He represents something unconquerable.
Yes.
What's up, Brian Hill? And they fear. They fear that. They fear it. That's why they try to extinguish it and silence it under every format, comic, movie, cartoon, just 100%, you know? And it's like, do y'all see that we see what you're doing? You know? I mean, I feel like looking back now at Christopher Priest's run, I feel kind of duped.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like I'm looking at him and I'm going, oh, he making Black Panther tight. Black Panther got badass females on each side of him that can handle that business for him. Oh, he making Black Panther suit bulletproof. Oh, snap, we liking that. Oh, Black Panther can run up walls now. Oh, but what's the trade-off? Oh, we find out in college he dated
Yep. And see, and like I said before, there's nothing wrong with
it. Go ahead.
But it's not. But for him to do it was out of character, and so there's just certain things. There's certain characters that you have to keep them in character, and so that had never been an issue in the whole time that we knew he was dating Monica Lynn. So if you don't want him to be with Storm, bring back Monica Lynn. What's the problem? So I don't understand why we have to sit here and accept Christopher Priest's belief that Black comics don't sell. Because I went back and checked, and I wish I had the numbers with me, but I went back and checked from the 60s on. There were times where Captain America was so low on the totem pole as far as comic sales. But guess what? They never canceled his book. Why? Because he was a symbol. It's the same thing with T'Challa. It should not matter how many sales you get, because the problem with T'Challa is, and we'll get to this, one, they did not give him powers that would grab an audience. They had villains, but they didn't know they didn't have a recurring rogue gallery, as Theo has alluded to in numerous times. So if you don't, I've said this, so even before I met you guys, a hero is only as strong as his villains. So if you give me a villain of the week, it's not going to work. My book is not going to sell. But you have to give me some strong villains, some strong characters, and some strong guest stars. Why wasn't the Fantastic Four showing up in T'Challa's book as he did in theirs? Why wasn't he, when he was in New York as Luke Charles, as the teacher, why didn't he run into Carl Lucas? Why didn't he run into Luke Cage? Why didn't he pull up on Sam? What was the problem with bringing in other kids? They did have him run into Spider-Man a couple of times in Marvel Team Up. Big deal. Why couldn't he pull up on him in his comics, in his regular comic? See, you have to give the character a chance to grab the audience's attention, and you have to give them something that they can see that, oh, that's cool. The guy can fly. Oh, he shoots laser beams out of his eyes. Oh, this guy can crawl up walls. It has to be something so creative and so visual that people can see themselves doing that. But they did not do that. And to your point, Daryl, they are afraid of Black men with power. And so that's why you never got a black man with those type of superpowers, especially at Marvel, until you got Fastos. But they sidelined him because they didn't want you to see him beating up people. Like, wow, how's he doing that? Why is that black man putting hands on Magneto? They didn't want that.
He didn't have no powers, but he tackled a rhino twice.
Thank you, Daryl. I'm gonna use that as a I'm sorry, my facial expressions.
Don't worry about it.
I'm disturbed by the stuff that I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to profess to be anybody other than me.
Mm-hmm.
And in me saying that, I love me some me, and I love others. Daryl just alluded to it. We wrestled down a rhino.
Mm-hmm. Twice.
One was 300 and the other one was 3,000, if I'm not mistaken. Like
3,000
got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, ever since I was a kid, you know, loving comic books, I could imagine myself writing,
mm-hmm.
you know, comic book writing. And I get it. You know, you read comic books. We read the origin of Captain America, Steve Rogers, quite a few times. I never came away with the fact that Steve Rogers didn't have any superhuman abilities. I get what they told me. What I came away with it was he better not run up on Clark Kent. Like he better not run up on Luke Cage. But just me, Joe Blow, out in the street, he gonna run that fade on me 10 out of 10 times. It ain't gonna take him no time at all. So I'm looking at T'Challa. And I'm trying to understand. Because I believe in being, constructively critical. I can give you your compliments and everything like that. I can big up the equipment upgrade and everything like that. Hey, that makes sense. But he come from the most advanced nation on earth. That should be what that is. But to say he doesn't have any superhuman abilities, if you're a writer, bump that. You're a comic book fan, you know better. He does have superhuman abilities. Is he Peter Parker? No, he's not Peter Parker, but he ain't Flash Thompson without the symbiote suit either. There was a reason why we got Super Soldier Serum, heart-shaped herb. We're not finna do that. Don McGregor literally created a woman throwing a spear through a hut. So even then, and T'Challa fought her. So we're not saying she was just, I guess, stronger than, no, she was a superhuman. We're not doing that. So, and I'm saying that to me as somebody who read the very complex writings of Don McGregor. We're not going to act like that. And many of us regard that as the Bible, the Black Panther Bible.
Yeah, we're going to use him too. We're going to get into him too, but on the good way.
When I look at what I read, the diaper thing.
And the bones through the nose.
The bones through the noses. That disturbs me when a Black person says it.
Yes.
Because you're telling me you're looking at something through somebody else's
eyes. Yes.
Not the ancestors. Now, with it being 2025, and I'm gonna tap out after I say this. The shame of it all is to be a Black man and still not have any appreciation for the work that you created, that you've done. You answered the questions, Mr. Smith, villains, reoccurring characters. There's a reason why we remember Lady Nightshade. There's a reason why Mr. Smith and my brother Daryl have a custom Vibraxis action figure.
Yes.
There's a reason why I have a custom, myself, Mr. Smith as well, a custom Hunter, as well as a custom Casper Cole action figure. You use those characters repeatedly.
Yes.
Thus, you answered the question in regards to why it didn't exist before. It's because it was the writers. Stop blaming characters for the incompetence of writers.
Yes.
The fact that you're a Black man and you answered it right there while you were writing means you still in 2025 to go along with this run, you still don't see the value in you.
And
You don't even have it within you to bring back the own white character you created, your own biracial character you created. Damn.
And that's the point. So let's go back just a little bit to pick back up on Casper Cole. They said, well, his story is he was challenged to get the sales back up and to take T'Challa out of the book and put in, as he called it, Vin Diesel. We all know him as Casper Cole, and see if that would work. So I'm sorry. Let's just use critical thinking real quick. How did Casper Cole get that suit that he had? He found it, or some say he stole it. Batman leaving his equipment around. Is Batman doing that? For anybody to find it? Come on, man. So
I forgot left all this vibranium somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm the king of that country, and I know how important it is.
And I know how important it is. And I'm keeping it. And at first, we didn't want nobody to know where we were, so we had cloaking technology that nobody could see us. But now I'm just leaving it all willy nilly. So
I remember that story too. I'm sitting here looking at it because y'all made me go back, and that's why I'm loving. Like I said, I'm deferring to y'all. Y'all made me go back. He took on the Lady Nightshade. She put a chemical on him. It destroyed his suit. Bruce would go back to the Batcave with his destroyed suit.
Yeah.
This dude took his suit off and left it with a detective that we ain't never heard from again.
It does not make sense. So
he left Wakanda technology with a random.
Yeah, it's exactly what he did. So the point is, to your very valid point, Theo, we can't blame characters. We got to blame piss poor writing, and that's what this is. It's a lack of cognition where you can actively understand how this character is supposed to move. And he said that he wanted to take it. It was his idea to make T'Challa a spy on the Avengers. I couldn't think of a reason why he would join the Avengers other than to spy on them. No, what, really? Because if you go back, and I don't want to give that issue away because that's a secret I told Theo about, but there's an issue where T'Challa and the Avengers are fighting someone, and Daryl, you know who this is, but they was fighting someone, and he called T'Challa the most noble.
It's only a few that know that. I promise you, it's only a few folks that know that. It's less folks that know that.
All of the Avengers, we talking Thor, we talking Captain America, we talking all of these Avengers that putting hands on this particular individual, and he laying them out once, twice, 3 times, and they ain't getting up. They taking naps. He said, "I don't want to do this to you because you're the most noble."
Listen,
but now he's a spy.
Yeah, but
you can't make that make sense, man.
It's less folks that know that.
You can't be noble. You can't be noble and be a spy. Can you?
Oh, it's impossible. Is James Bond a noble character? Oh, stop the nonsense. So he's talking.
I wouldn't call James Bond noble.
See, so you talking out of both sides of your mouth. That's why I said I'm coming for Christopher Priest tonight, because I'm tired of his BS. I'm tired of him trying to make it seem like he is the victim. If you read his articles, he always plays the victim card instead of standing on business. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got to throw the replay out flag on that one right there. Wait a minute, dadgummit. So one dude gonna say he a spy, and the other dude gonna have him be ridiculed for being a spy. Yeah, I don't want folks thinking I forgot. So CP got him saying he joined because he a spy, and JR saying he trashed because he a spy.
Come on, it's interesting. So you can't and then they can't all of a sudden tell T'Challa like it was written to bring up that idiot that I didn't want to bring up. They had it written like he was wrong for doing it.
But Bruce right though, right?
Yeah,
Bruce Wright.
Bruce
Bruce
right,
Wright.
but T'Challa is wrong. And see, so it's like the old saying: if you white, you all right. If you black, you got to get back. And so they keep perpetuating these narratives and these stereotypes that black men have to fight against, and we're raging against the machine because the machine has swallowed whole those who have gone into work with it, like Christopher Priest. So he's only doing it to make a buck. He's not doing it to make a point.
Can I ask
And
this
that's
question?
the problem. Yes.
Can I ask this question? How arrogant or oblivious do you have to be to believe that Black Panther fans aren't Justice League fans?
You got to be pretty stupid.
Like, how do you believe? Like, do you really, as the writer and the editor, do you really believe that Black Panther fans did not read the Tower of Babel?
Come on.
Nor saw the damn DVD War that was based on that same damn
Mhm.
but like like regardless of what ethnicity, gender, orientation, whatever, do they really believe a Black Panther fan didn't read that, like couldn't connect the dots and was sitting up here like, well, if it was good for Bruce, why it ain't good for him?
No, go ahead.
First, you have to believe Black Panther fans exist. Okay, and from the sounds of what he's saying, especially in that interview, ain't nobody checking for Black Panther, ain't nobody checking for Black characters. I don't know if it was because of the time of that interview or if that's because that's what he believes, period. But if there ain't nobody checking for Black characters, why'd you do Quantum and Woody? If ain't nobody checking for Black characters, why did you do the Black Panther? If ain't nobody checking for Black characters, why'd you do Power Man and Iron Fist?
See, he talks out of both sides of his mouth. They're not checking for bad characters. That's the problem. They're not checking for underdeveloped characters. And so if you don't develop T'Challa past the first grade, then nobody's checking for him. That's what the problem was. They saw a narrative and they kept repeating it. And so a lie will become the truth if you repeat it long enough, loud enough. And that's what has happened. They kept saying that T'Challa wasn't a viable character to have his own standalone comic. Well, you had the beginning of upgrading T'Challa way back in, what was it? Was it 78? When it was 78 when he got those clairvoyant powers, when he got those psychic powers. But they took them right away from him. Why? Because now that could be his version of spider sense. Now you're developing a character that people will start checking for, like, oh, wait a minute. He's got like a spider sense.
If I'm not mistaken, I apologize for cutting you off. If
It's
I'm not
all right.
mistaken, and y'all would have to tell me what time frame did this story play out in Avengers before the Christopher Priest run? It probably did. But I remember reading the Avengers. I'm living in Camilla, Georgia, and everything like that. So we're not really getting Marvel Knights like that. But I remember this story where the Masters of Evil took on the Avengers. The Avengers were in their mansion and everything like that. Speaking to your point, and this is why I say, going back to these super senses, it's like, my guy, come on, dude. You too knowledgeable for that. If he got cat-like abilities, come on, man. Don't do that. And so he's saying he doesn't have any abilities, no superpower. I remember T'Challa sitting at the table just like this. And Goliath was outside the window with the Masters of Evil, whirlwind, and everything like that. T'Challa turned around and said, get away from the window. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Nobody knew. Like, he wasn't out. He didn't see it. He sensed it with his cat-like abilities. I got like Daredevil, just without the radar. I got super sensory perception. I'm saying that to draw reference to this. No difference than if we look at Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Tony is standing in the corner because he just found out the Skrulls have invaded Earth. And they looking at T'Challa. They like, T'Challa, what's wrong with you? I'm looking at Iron Man. Don't nobody see Tony. Tony over there in the dark. He like, I'm trying to figure out why Tony's standing over there in the dark, just looking at me.
Yeah.
So I'm asking myself, how is it the person that doesn't look like me? Because once again, Don McGregor wrote this dude wrestling down a whole damn rhino. I don't know. Usain Bolt ain't wrestling down no damn rhino. I'm trying to figure out, how is it that the folk that don't look like me, appreciate you, Jonathan Hicken, good looking. I don't understand how the folk that don't look like me see me, but the folk that look like me don't see me. I'm grasping, I'm struggling, not struggling, I'm struggling. Because that was a display of some superhuman ability in that comic book alone. Did that comic book come out before the Christopher Priest run?
I think so. I think so. But here's the problem, Theo. It's we have been brainwashed into thinking that, well, not all of us, present company excluded, and the Rock With Me Nation as well, but there's so many people who are brainwashed into thinking we can only go to a certain level. We can only do so much. And as I always say, and I keep repeating it every time I teach a class, whatever, never let anyone else define you. Otherwise, you have to live by the limits of their definition. We have, for too long, allowed others to define who we are. And that's the problem. And that's why I'm so upset with Christopher Priest, JR, and all of them who have done the most damage to the most important Black character that came, because without him, the other ones don't exist. They came after him. The LGBTQ came after him. And to your point, what you said on the other video, Theo, Horatio was right there. Him and Taku. That came out of Black Panther. That predates North Star. For those of y'all who don't know.
Why can't you have two characters called Venom?
Come on. And the one spells it with 2 M's.
And I don't want nobody act like that. I got the Pride comic book there in too. So I don't want to.
So the problem, so what I did, and I just want to.
And Mr. Trump got a Venom action figure.
I sure do. I customized it. Yeah. So what I did was, long before I met you, me and my buddy, we used to talk and sit around. We tried to upgrade T'Challa. And matter of fact, as you well know, I was a king of writing Marvel, and I wrote a letter to Christopher Priest. They didn't want to publish it, but whatever. My thinking was he should have kept his clairvoyant powers, his psychic abilities. And there's no way you can tell me that Peter Parker is smarter than T'Challa. I'm not even buying that. They can tell you that all they want to, but he's not smart. This dude is on the level of Reed Richards. Peter Parker ain't touching Reed Richards in intellect. Sorry. There's like Dr. Doom, Reed Richards, and T'Challa's in that conversation. So you're telling me that he would not have, long before Christopher Priest came along, invented some kind of weaponry? Back in the day, this was back in the 80s, when I got out of the service. I talked to my boy. I said, "You mean to tell me he wouldn't copy Spider-Man's web line and call it a jungle line? He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't have ninja type gadgets on him. He wouldn't do that. Yes, sir."
I'm gonna go back because I know he did 2 things way before Christopher Priest picked up a Marvel Knight run, which demonstrates his technology, his superior intellect. Because Peter was around before T'Challa, and Peter ain't do nothing like that. The Avengers are only flying because of T'Challa.
Exactly.
The Quinjet, damn what you heard in the MCU. No, that's him. That's him. Sam
with his wing
only flying because of T'Challa.
Captain America 171.
Peter was around before T'Challa, but he not the reason why Reed was around before T'Challa. Ain't either one of them the reason Victor was around, but ain't none of them the reason why the Avengers got a Quint. Tony was around.
Yeah.
Tony was flying around in his suit of armor. Tony ain't had no Quinjet. No, that's T'Challa.
And that's what I'm saying.
So this thing about him not being okay,
it's BS. And so again, they don't want us to be. They don't want to show us as being better because they're afraid of their constituents. They're afraid of the people who buy the comics not wanting to see a black man in that role. Well, I'm sorry. It wasn't just black people that voted for Obama. So that is a dumb comment. That is completely idiotic. So, I'm guaranteeing you, there are some right now who are saying, "Well, if this guy runs again, we want Obama to run again because we gonna vote for him." So,
to your point, let me say this, and I'm saying this to all my brothers and sisters out there. Don't be the brother or sister on social media that gets schooled by the brother or sister that's not a brother or sister.
yeah.
Don't let them, don't go out there and say something stupid. And what I mean when I say something stupid, you capping, you finna make a disparaging comment one way or the other, just to have the person that's light bright, damn near white, if not at all, come in off the top rope and hit you with a RKO. Because it's some of them out here, they die hard Black Panther fans. They 38 hot about stuff like this. And you get out there and you say something crazy, they will, because I based on the stuff that I've been put, it's quite a few of them out there that know way more about Christopher Priest's run than those that look like Christopher Priest. Don't get caught sleep. They out here. Wait, them white sharks out here, and they bite. They biting.
What I wanted to say was, somebody had mentioned in the comments that it was Paul Martin.
What's up,
Cage fanboyed Luke.
He did.
I mean, Luke fanboyed
yes.
Now, prior to the Hudlin or Priest run, when did that dynamic exist? Furthermore, prior to that, when did Luke Cage and T'Challa even ever see? When did we ever see them two characters together in a comic book? Never. Okay, now
my point.
When did we ever see more than two black characters together prior to the 90s?
You didn't.
You didn't see the crew. You ain't see the crew in the 90s. You didn't see Black Panther and you didn't see none of that. So there's a different dynamic. I mean, the motivation behind it is still the same, but it's a different dynamic because instead of them simply saying now like they did in the 70s, we ain't gonna give it to you because we run the book and we got the right to say we ain't gonna give it to you. But now they give it to you and propagandize it.
Yes.
And because I feel like now Christopher Priest was a tool used against me to gain my allegiance.
Yes.
You know, as a fan, that's how I feel now. Yep. And then when I look at Christopher Priest as a writer, period, and all of the stuff he's done, and just like somebody in the comments said, and I start piecing it together and the tapestry, and I'm putting it together, and I'm looking at all of it, and where all of it draws in at, and all draws into central place, and I'm like, he was like that all this time.
Yep.
When he was upgrading to T'Challa, and he was like that all this time. But when you look at that book and you go, yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was like that.
It's one of those
you know, and if it can be done like that with somebody like Christopher Priest, if CB Cebulski or whoever in charge decide they want to put that one other face out there and say, we're going to give you that face, and this is the face we're going to use to push our narrative.
I think
that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important when people like me and you, Theo, when we talk to these comic book writers, ask those questions. If you ain't never coming on my show again because of a question that I ask you, I'm fine with that. But
Yeah.
don't tell me I can't ask a question. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's something from a legal standpoint, or it's something that's going to release something about a character or something before you want it to, I understand that. But if it's a point blank question like, why do you not think T'Challa should be recast, and you're going to squirm and worm and try to wiggle all around the issue, then I'm looking at you sus. I'm looking at
Yeah.
you some kind of way. Like, you said this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to better this character. You're not better than this character. You're crapping on him. You're making him look lesser than everybody you put him in a frame with, than everybody you put him in a comic book with, than everybody you put him on the screen with.
Well, so what my point to people who were talking about not recasting T'Challa was, they said he was iconic in the role, and we throw that around. But okay, I'll let you get away with that. But for people who are our age, the person who was iconic as Sherlock Holmes was Basil Rathbone, and Nigel Bruce as Watson. Now
Okay.
we got two MCU uh, uh, actors who have played Sherlock Holmes. Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch. They didn't take that role off the table because Basil Rathbone has been dead a long time. And there have been subsequent people to have played that role. But that is one of the most iconic characters ever. So they're not taking white roles off the table, but you are so stupid, you're letting them tell you that this character is too important because this actor played it.
I think
You're
for me,
dumb.
I'm gonna use the word that I found, and I thought it was a nice word to use. I thought it was better than using the word mad. I'm mad at you. I don't like you. Disappointment seems to be the word that touches people, triggers people. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for quite a few reasons. One, when you hear Christopher Priest is coming, I've read the his run, and I'm somebody able to compartmentalize what he did. He did some stuff that I liked. He did some stuff I didn't care for. That just is what it is. And you and I have talked in regards to how I was like, it ain't Tosin's fault that
Right,
JR
right.
did that trash with him. Like, I love the characters because our characters don't get created that often, and then when they do, they just wind up disappearing. You don't see them again. So I like Casper, the whole biracial aspect of it. I'm like, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I don't know why we had the sideline to do that, but hey, okay, all right. It's disappointing because it's like the respect that you have for the guy's work. You now ask yourself, does he even respect his work? Even if he, felt like he felt about the character, then that was the 90s. This is 2025. And you could feel like you felt like nobody cares too much about the character, but financially speaking, the character made 2.1 billion. Even and 800 of that came from a movie the character wasn't even in. To his point, I ain't even got to have him in the comic book, and he gonna think about what you're saying. To have a character not even be in their comic book and it still sells, that means the expectation, people are buying the comic book because they're expecting the character to be in it. It's nothing to brag about that you're doing something bold. You're misleading the fan base because they want to see it. And the fact that so many showed up to the first movie, 1.3 million, which is more than that today if we adjust for inflation. It's disappointing that a critically acclaimed brother that's a writer, you got to know fans want this character back in their own monthly title. You got to be aware of how people felt about that Benjamin Percy series. No Black Panther fan is bragging about that, and that took place in an alternate universe. Nobody's bragging about that book. You got to know folks are feeling some type of way about he ain't showing up in the 616. You can't be a writer in the comic book community and you ain't heard fans questioning why Jed McKay got the dude missing. in the Avengers. You're not oblivious. You're not dumb. You're not
Mhm.
stupid. You're not ignorant. You know what's going on. If Marwa Ayadele has received so much vitriol, he's no longer on Twitter. You're not stupid. Y'all running the same damn circles. So you
Mhm.
know what folks are saying about T'Challa, period. Aurora, period.
Mhm.
T'Challa and Aurora. You're not dumb. You're not stupid. Like you're not. You ain't get where you are in this world by being an idiot.
Mhm.
So my question is, what in the hell made you think this was the damn move? Like
It's not.
you
It's
could,
not.
there's no head that you're not gonna talk to not one knowledgeable Black Panther fan, comic book fan, that's gonna be like, yeah, this is what you should have did when you came back. You didn't even bring back any of the damn characters you created that folks actually care about.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
And that's the problem, because see, they, instead of the subsequent writers building upon what went before them, they all wanted to tear it down and start over. That loses people's interest. They don't care. So what we talked about, Theo, a long time ago, and I'm going to bring it to the Rock With Me Nation now. I had solved, well, at first I made it Shuri. I did the Shuri thing, and I told you who her real daddy should have been. Like I was showing you guys before we started, should have been this guy. Now everybody is like, who is that? That's my version of Anton Pretorius from Don McGregor's run. So if you go and read that, you will see that that individual was having his way with Ramunda every day. Every day. There wasn't a child born from that? Are you? No. So at first I said, okay, that should be Shuri's daddy. But then I changed it. I said, no, let's not make it Shuri's dad. Let's change, because I do not like, what I don't like about Hunter is how they brought him into the whole uh Black Panther mythos. That is straight ripoff of Tarzan. A plane crashes and he's the only survivor, and then he get, so what they were telling you by doing that is they have the Wakandans taking the place of the apes, and they already picture us as apes anyway. That's where that whole Planet of the Apes movie, people don't understand that the whole Planet of the Apes was black people being in charge.
And
That's
here's
what
the
that
sad
whole
part.
thing was about.
I can't say you wrong when the dude that created Hunter has an article out there where he's describing T'Challa's soul brothers as cats running around in diapers with picks in their noses. Like, I can't tell you you're wrong.
So
I can't tell you that's too much of a stretch. No.
So that's where it should have been. He should have been. And so in my universe, what I have done is that's who Hunter's father is. And what happens is they also nerfed T'Chaka in the comics, because it was T'Challa who had to go find his mother, his stepmother, even his mother. So instead of that happening, why couldn't T'Chaka go and find her and go get her back, bring her back? The son is right there, and he sees, because Anton is not going to give up easily. Well, he gets murked. I mean, he gets taken out. The son sees that, so now he's thinking this guy has come in, taken out his dad, and kidnapped his mother. When in actuality it's the reverse, but in his mind, that's what he's seeing. So now he's got a mad on for Wakandas in Black Panther. So he's trying to find them. So in my universe, as he grows up, he allies himself with Claw, because Claw is the one who has been to Wakanda. See, I don't have it where everybody knows where Wakanda is. In my universe, you ain't pulling up on Wakanda. You don't know where it is. You can't find it. It still is in secret. So he's trying to get back at T'Chaka, because in my universe T'Chaka is still living. So he's trying to do, so it makes no, why don't you build on that? That makes more sense than randomly finding some kid in a plane crash, and you save him, and then you bring him to Wakanda. Stop the nonsense. And what I also did with Midnight, I told you I make customs. In my universe, Midnight is unfortunately he's orphaned by the Mandarin, trying to get. He's taking Fu Manchu's place, and because you don't have the rights to Fu Manchu, the Mandarin is actually in my universe. He's Shang-Chi's father, and so he's trying to find Wakanda to it is no secret that other countries are exploiting Africa's resources right now in the real world. That's a fact.
Especially China.
And that's where I was going. China is number one. They are exploiting resources in Africa right now. No differently, now you see Russia trying to do the same thing because it's rich in all kinds of natural resources. So enter in Mandarin. He's trying to get in and get all of these resources. He needs to find Wakanda. They start a war, and T'Chaka and his war dogs, they go over there, and before they can, take care of business, Manai's family gets taken out. That's when you can see where T'Chaka would bring someone in as one of his own, because he would be around the same age as T'Challa, and then they can be raised together, and then he would be loyal not only to T'Chaka but to T'Challa. And in my universe, I kind of got him as like Manai, as he's almost like a Jedi, because he's a low-level telekinetic.
I want to shout out to my brother, my fellow Devil Dog Juju Rose. He said he just went to his local comic store, and the dudes who worked there said, I don't know what they were thinking with this. Everybody is pissed.
Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna
That's why I said, like,
we know that. That's
why I said, like, I think it's important. I think it's important for that nail to be hammered home. Folks have a tendency to think that only black people are Black Panther fans. No, don't. You gonna get your feelings hurt. Yep. No, there are people that aren't black, aren't black men that are huge fans of this character. There are cats out here that care more about this character than they care about any other character, right? And they are they pissed.
Yeah,
they pissed. And so it
makes no sense.
Just letting y'all know, it's way more than just us that look like us.
They wasn't reading Black Panther comics.
They wasn't reading the room.
If this is what got them all riled up and in their, what I'm saying, collective
they weren't. But the problem is right now, you had a built-in fan base. You had momentum with that first movie. You had it already set. What you should have done was what Theo said a long time ago. You didn't have to rush and make that second movie. What you should have done was built the character up more in the comics, because nobody can tell you that you can't recast in the comics, because he didn't die in the comics.
Listen, I'm loving these comments. I'm keeping up. Y'all keep going, but the comments, I'm gonna read those as they come along. The ones that I think are interesting. Not this comes from
I seen a couple of them out the corner of my eye and was just
listen, you and Mr. Smith got the show. I'm down here. My local comic store. This comes from Nitello. My local comic store owner said himself, he's not going to order many of issues 2, A World to Come, because even he said it's trash, and he's white.
Exactly. Nobody wants this. You can't force it. So what he was trying to do, what Christopher Priest was trying to do, was play to an audience that he thought would rally to his side. He's not reading the room. And so you can't be stupid and still think that you are, see, he has a large ego. He has a huge ego. Just read his interviews. His ego is like off the chain. That's why he didn't get along at Marvel, why he left the first time. his ego is just out of pocket. So I don't understand why the three of us can sit here and come up with a better storyline time after time for over a 100 issue run of a character that we love, and it wouldn't even be hard to do a 100 issue run with T'Challa. It wouldn't be hard. We can do this, but these people that they have in place to try to write these stories, they can't write themselves out of a wet paper bag.
I think the biggest misconception, and I'm gonna say it again, when I was talking about the Batman story of Tower of Babel, the DVD war, I think the misconception of Black Panther fans is that they're black. And that comes with a whole bunch of stereotypes that aren't true. And so we're under the impression that a Black Panther fan, because they got to be black, right? They can't be anybody else. Can't write a story because they don't know anything else about the other characters in the Marvel comic book universe. Like, we would not be able to integrate T'Challa into the Marvel universe unless we don't know how to tell the story from Africa. I got to get him up out of Africa and fit him in America. Can't have him visit America. Hell, I can get the X-Men from Earth to Mars, and make it work. But I can't tell a story because I ain't never been to damn Mars. I'm sorry, I don't know nobody been to Mars. So
John Carter,
right? I
can imagine.
I can't make the story in Africa work.
Territory,
mind you. Once again, and I'm gonna keep hammering it home. You can't be that arrogant, because if I was him and I was arrogant, I'm coming back doing a Black Panther miniseries. I'm Christopher Priest. One is called the Wakandan Warriors. The formation of it. I got Shorty as the griot. None of this other stuff, because I'm arrogant. I'm cocky, confident like that. Oh, Hunter gonna be on that team because that's my damn creation. I'm pissed y'all ain't been using it. Got my creation getting his ass whooped by Sam. The hell? I'm gonna bring in Casper because y'all ain't done a damn thing with Casper since Ta-Nehisi Coates did a damn. You ain't even got my damn character walking around with a damn name. I'm gonna do something with him. Then I'm gonna go get Cantu from the Mute Zone, get that going on and everything like that. I need me a woman on my team and everything like that. So I got Shorty, but I want to show folks that I represent the LGBTQ. You know what? Let me go get Besa and let me go get Horatio Walters, because that allows me to do some stuff. I'm doing it and I'm looking at CB Saborski and I'm saying, that's what it's going to take to get me, dog.
You got
that's what it's going to take to get me, dog.
You have to stand firm on your convictions, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And he fell for it. He fell for the
we don't think non-black Black Panther fan wouldn't have went for that. I know it's some of them like, damn, dog, he deep. Bro, he know what the hell he talking about. We could have brought back a Kibe. We could have got, damn it, I'm sitting, what? No, we could have got Salamander the damn crew. King to the daggone Madam Kent been looking for Madam Slay for the damn longest. You know what? Never mind.
You got what's the other queen? Help me, Xander.
Princess Xander. Yeah, don't get me started. You need to tell. Never mind.
You got Lil Abner still out there. You got all of these characters that were created that you can bring back, and people who read those books can say, "Oh, I remember them," and then people who don't know can want to go back and check that out. That's what they used to do a long time ago, before the internet. They would. You remember this, Theo? You remember this, Daryl? They would always reference in the bottom scroll. They would say, "See,
back and an asterisk," and they tell you the issue that
and go check it out. Yeah. So that's what is needed. You need to cross promote. You can't just be stuck in a box and say, "This is my sandbox. I'm only going to play here." To your point, Theo, you and D, you could have had him with interacting with other characters in the Marvel universe, no differently than you had Spider-Man interacting, and then you had the Thing interacting with the Marvel 2-in-1. So you had T'Challa. He I think he was in Marvel Team Up at least twice. I remember that in
issue 40 and issue 80.
80. Yeah, and so twice you couldn't make
I'm sorry. It was issue 40 of Marvel 2-in-1.
Right.
Issue 20 of
20.
Marvel Team Up.
Right. And so you had
Stegron, the dinosaur man.
Right, man, was something. But
he ain't think we wanted to see Vibraxis. He ain't think we wanted to see Sister Divine Justice. He ain't think we want to see them. We've been asking for them. That's black representation. Black image. We've been asking specifically for them damn characters. It ain't like we ain't asked for Horatio. We've been asking for Horatio and Hunter too. So it ain't like we ain't been asking for the white damn character. Nobody gives two damn about Everett Ross. I'm sorry.
No,
we don't care. But you didn't, bro. You created them damn characters. It's folks out here. It ain't just me and Mr. Smith. It ain't just Daryl. It's folks out here that have customized action figures based on the characters you created, and you bring your behind back, and you don't even see no damn value in your own characters. I'm so disappointed in you.
No, because he doesn't see any value in the people that he's trying to market to. He doesn't see any value in true Black Panther fans. So he's trying to pander to another audience that don't look like us. So he's trying to
see you.
I'm trying. I have been trying to put myself in a mind frame where I can say what he did was justified because you know what I'm saying? You can always rationalize it in a way, shape, or form where it's like, okay, I get where he's going with that, and I understand this.
He can't do it.
I got nothing. I got nothing. And I'm just like, I want a cape for the man, but you ain't got nothing capable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
the only thing you can say good is, man, you gave us the high toots that I said, hey, bro, good looking, bro. I ain't tripping. You gave us Hunter. You know what, man? I like that. I ain't mad. You gave us the technology with T'Challa's costume. You gave us the Dora Milaje. Boy, look here. You did that.
So now I ask the question: Does his achievements outweigh his faults?
No. If you do,
did you ask the question earlier? Remember, attaboy, and you see what I'm saying?
See, I don't even look at it like that.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same.
No. Listen, I look at it as being fair. I'm not going, for lack of better terminology, kiss your ass. You do some good stuff, regardless of who the hell you are. I'm gonna give you compliments for doing some good stuff. That I reviewed Creed the next round. Michael B. Jordan had himself something else. This was me being critical of the stuff that he had going on in regards to the Black Panther movie franchise.
Right.
No, I can compartmentalize. One ain't got a damn thing to do with the other. If it does have something to do with the other, one might ask the question, based on what you did over here, why in the hell would you do this over there?
Yeah.
Like, I could ask that question. Based on what you did over here, why would you come back and do this? Makes no damn sense based on what you did over here.
No.
Because, folks, nobody's going to acknowledge this. Elseworld 616-1610. None of the folks that like this.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay. Anansi said, in my opinion, Priest did have people stop thinking Black Panther was a pushover and a boring throwaway character. Now, that being said, that is a factual statement.
So, okay, why come back and contribute to the BS?
Okay, here's where I was going with it. Okay, okay, if he did that, was it a purposeful build up only to later on say, "Hey guys, here's Casper Cole."
Yeah. And also, you got to remember what he also did.
Same run. Hey guys, T'Challa slept with a white girl in college.
Same run. Killmonger became the Black Panther because he was still going along with the same old nonsense that this is the one man that T'Challa can't defeat. I'm sorry. Name me the character that Bruce hasn't beaten. Name him. It can never be. Can never be. Give me that character. Give me the characters. Peter Parker
exist.
Peter Parker. Give me that character that Peter Parker
I think
cannot
those are fair
defeat.
questions. He made a stickler about T'Challa not having any superhuman powers. Well, Bruce don't have any superhuman powers, and who Bruce losing to?
He done defeated gods.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When you look at that run, and that's the thing why I said people don't need to have revisionist history. I'm able to compartmentalize. But you read what I read. Don't act like you didn't read it. You saw him lose to Eric. You're not seeing Bruce lose to the Joker like that. Unless you finna tell me Eric is his Bane. And I don't think we ever putting Eric on that level of a character where that's T'Challa's Bane.
Batman came back and beat Bane though.
Right. And so I'm not gonna do that. We literally had T'Challa's sideline. I'm one step away from croaking. And Christopher alluded to it himself. I can sideline him in his own character. His own comic. Well, after his fight with Eric, how many issues was T'Challa just laid up like this?
Yeah.
Look and throw it away.
From issue 50 to issue 62, he was sidelined in his own book because that's when Casper Cole took over for a whole year.
Yep.
So it doesn't.
Before anybody makes the comparison, I want to introduce the concept of plot armor. A lot of the things that happen in Batman's book happen not because of Batman's abilities, not because of Batman's technology, but because of plot
armor.
Okay, Chuck Dixon ain't got no problem with plot armor for Batman. Christopher Priest, however, might have a slight issue trying to put plot armor in for T'Challa. We don't see a whole lot of it.
I just want us to be fair. Like, we can give the compliments. I don't mind giving the compliments. I will give the compliments. I will give the praises. But I don't want it to be where if we're criticizing somebody, we don't like them. No, we hand out the compliments. The compliments are there, and we talked about them. But we should be able to be objective. We should be able to be fair and not feel beholden to, well, if I say something bad, well, I'm putting it to you like this. I'm a Michael Jordan fan, and I can be critical of Michael Jordan. I'm a LeBron James fan. I can be critical of LeBron James. I'm an R. Kelly fan. I can be critical of R. Kelly. So I don't want anybody thinking that just because I like you, and we got to get beyond that, because as we say, iron sharpens iron. At no point in your life do you want your friends to be just yes people. That's not how you get better, and that's not how you grow.
Listen,
so
the Bible
says do that on the other level either. So
the Bible says, "Be wary when all men speak well of you."
Come on.
So we're not doing that. So I'm going to call out BS when I see it. And I've been reading comics for a very long time, and a lot of the stuff that I see is BS when it comes to Black Panther. You say that he's from the most technologically advanced civilization in the world, yet he can't even do simple things. He can't. He has the heart-shaped herb in his body, but he can't defeat Killmonger. When Killmonger tried to take the heart-shaped herb, what happened to him, Theo?
Him die.
So I'm sorry. No regular strength dude is pulling up on Captain America and giving him the business like that. Sorry, it's not happening. Not with the super soldier serum in him. So we have to stop caping for people when they do stupid stuff.
America a hard time.
Who?
Does Batroc?
No, no, no,
Because I say
no,
like every
no.
comic book character, every comic book cover I have ever seen with Captain America and Batroc on it, Tales of Suspense and all that, it looks like Batroc is giving him a hard time. And then you go and like back in the day, them Jack Kirby that frame for frame, just straight fight. It looked like he giving him a hard time, but it's like he's a regular old dude. He can't beat Captain America.
Nope, he can't. And that's the problem that we have to get past. You have to put Black Panther on the level that he deserves to be on, and that will bring the sales up. You can't keep him to what Christopher Priest said. He was a forever B-level character. That's because that's how you wrote him.
By choice.
Not,
by choice.
By choice. That's how the editors and the writers kept T'Challa. So there has to be growth. To your point, and what Grand Madam Terrell always talks about, there has to be a hero's journey. He needed to progress. You can never stay stagnant because even in sports, we all played sports before. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And because everybody else is progressing. So that was the problem with T'Challa. They had him stagnant, and Christopher Priest alluded to it. Okay, so let him grow as a character.
You know what? I apologize for cutting you off, Mr. Smith.
All right.
Going back to the, piggybacking off of what y'all saying. Excuse me. When you think about, because one of the things Christopher Priest alluded to, and that's why I said, if I can criticize you, if I can compliment you, I can criticize you. One of the things he talked about, and I forget who alludes to it. S. Jax talks about it a lot. T'Challa's intellect not being displayed. He alluded to he had a problem with T'Challa's intellect not being on Front Street. So if you can articulate this, here you come in, and we have not yet built off of what Ta-Nehisi Coates left out there, the Intergalactic Empire. Yes, Jonathan Hickman is getting ready to involve it in Imperial, but that's a crossover event. That's not something centered around Wakanda.
Right.
Jonathan Hickman is an ally.
Right. And you have what Cheryl Lynn Eaton gave us from Blood Hunt, where you have the introduction of Anika. I'm not
Anuket.
What was it? Say it again.
Anuket.
And Anuket. I'm sorry, I don't know why Anuket, Lord have mercy. Just to have the Lord there, where you have it where he's there, he's in the bosom of Bast, and she's welcomed him back home. Back home. That was last year. Here you come, critically acclaimed, award-winning Black Panther writer. And I'm not gonna say he's not, correctly credited for putting the character back. No, you did your thing.
Yeah,
well, you're doing your thing. You're not gonna like everything that a writer does. So we have a right to criticize. Right. So constructively criticize. So with all of the momentum, 2.1 billion live action. He didn't even show up in the second movie. Fans clamoring for him. Writers that have come after you, leaving the character in a good spot by and large. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, John Ridley's run does not exist. That's trash.
Nope.
That's not canon.
That's a what if story.
Why would you why would you come in even if you know that you're speaking it, you're aware of it? How did somebody convince you to do this? And you know it's a problem because you take to social media interviews and beg. Folks gonna say, well, he wasn't begging, he was asking. That's begging. You should never have to ask me to stick around to the third issue. You should know that's what I'm gonna do. But you need folks to stick 5 issues, if I'm not mistaken. You need folks to stick around to issue 3. That's when it's gonna get good.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not even buying issue 1. The problem that I had was, if it's going to be a white son, how about this? Why isn't it Hunter's son? And something happened to Hunter, and then T'Challa is raising him like T'Chaka did with Hunter. How about that one? But to say it's T'Challa's son when there has been no evidence other than Nikki, and Nikki is dead, by the way, there's no evidence that he's been with another white woman.
And I just want us to understand this. They just recently came out and said this was an Elseworlds title. That this tape that ain't what they were saying in the solicit. No, they spent the block on that. That was damage control. Don't act like that's what that solicit said. That solicit ain't say nothing. It said in the far future. So don't say nothing like, oh no, this was the Elseworlds title. No, this is nothing more than spin doctoring. This is damage control. They heard the outrage, saw it like, well, this ain't canon.
You know what? You know what?
Damn well it ain't canon.
This is what happened. And when I was local comics shop, it was in the 90s, and I told my local comic shop when this happened, I said, this is not going to last 6 months. And that was when they decided brilliantly, yes, Sheldon, that's sarcasm, when they decided brilliantly that the clone was the original Spider-Man. And they were going to ship Peter Parker and Mary Jane to Oregon, and Ben Reilly was going to take over because he was really the original Peter Parker and not the clone. I said, it's not going to last six months. He said, why? I said, because now you're invalidating everything from issue 151 on with a clone. I say, so the fans are not, I said, and I'm one of them because I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So we're not going to buy it. 6 months later, they came back and stopped it, because if you go back and you remember that story, they had Reed Richards tell the clone that he was the original Peter Parker. Mr. Brainiac, the smartest man in the world. So it wasn't, and then they said, oh, that was our intention all along, that no, it wasn't. That's why you had Reed Richards tell Ben Reilly he was the original Peter Parker. You meant for that to happen. But to your point, Theo, they spun the block on it. They saw that the fans were not buying it literally, because they was leaving it right at the comic shop like I did. And then they said, you know what? We gonna change it back. Don't worry about it. We was just fooling. We was just playing. Psych, just jokes. And that's the same thing that they're doing with this.
That was getting ready to happen with this.
Exactly. So
soon as this fifth issue wrap up, this book is gonna go the way of the dodo. No one's going to remember it or care. It's just controversy and some BS to keep us making videos for the summer.
You know what? I try to buy everything that T'Challa is in. I try to buy. I'm not even. What I used to tell my buddy, he would say, "You gonna go buy it?" I say, "Yeah, I'm gonna go right by it."
Listen, let me tell you something.
I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna go right by it and buy something else.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. And shout out to my brother Devil Dog, Juju, and everything like that. Because I told Juju, I said, man, listen, the only reason why I bought JR's run was to keep folks from lying. But see, that was back then. This modern technology in this day and age. I ain't got to buy no damn comic book to do no review on it.
No. And I'm not doing
like Lord, yeah, rock with me, nation. And my brother Darren, no, we ain't got to buy not another comic book to do a comic book review. So me buying the comic.
Look at D-Real.
Okay, yeah, facts.
Me buying the comic. Come on now, you are. It's the reason why you struggling. Yeah. You need to make me want to reach in my pocket.
Hey, 97 comic books at $5.99, $4.99. I don't know after a while.
You I'm finna talk for the comic book reviewers that ain't stands and ain't being paid Juju. Like that. Look him.
Facts, Juju. Juju got a good point there.
You gotta be doing something for me to reach into my pocket. Like it can't be I'm just doing the comic book review. Oh no, I gotta want that. I gotta want that in my house. I gotta want to own that. I gotta want to own that.
Because the African gene would be more dominant than the other.
I got mixed children. I got mixed children. They don't look like a team.
So because our genes are dominant.
Nothing like a team.
So like I said, that should have been either Casper's child or Hunter's child that he took.
That's the only way. That can't be T'Challa and somebody else's kid.
No, stop it.
I'll sit up here I'm like, how long the Jeffersons been off the air? Because that was the last time that was when that
about 40 plus.
40 plus. That was the
Mhm.
last time we saw siblings that one was white, one was black, and they came. No, we're not stupid. That's not no biracial child. What
No,
the hell?
no.
What the hell? Like, it's so many things wrong. Like I said, I'm so disappointed because
Yeah.
there's no way in the world you got to have just arrived on planet Earth if you think that's what comic book fans, let alone Black Panther fans, wanted in a so-called Black Panther book. You have got to be like, I'm sorry. And Mr. Priest, I'm talking to you. I don't care who you talk to. And I don't care who interviewed you. You need to go talk to God. Because there's no way in the world you thought out to even put your name on it.
And he's a man of God.
Yeah. There's no way in the
why
world.
he changed his name
to priest.
Yep. There's no way in the world you could not have, you ain't got no friends. You ain't got no friends. Because you could have went to your friends and said, hey, I'm finna do a Black Panther book. Okay, that's what you back on the big dog? Yeah, what's it about? I'm finna kill him off and give him a white son. You finna what? you, unless your friends are John Ridley, Nate Moore, and Ryan Coogler, it couldn't have been nobody else. Like, I don't believe I'm finna fight folks like Theo. Why did you throw our name up in it? Well, you know what? I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna. You ain't holler at no other Black writers.
No.
You didn't. You couldn't have. You couldn't have. Because they'd have looked at you and be like, oh, you just gonna get a you know what? Here we go. Hey, I know why he did it.
Hey.
I know why he did it.
In about 2 weeks.
I know why he did it. It makes sense now.
Opinion of a Black writer.
It makes sense now. You did this for the paycheck, didn't you, big dog?
Yeah, he did.
You got them for that paper, didn't you? I see.
I told you.
You know what?
I told you he's a mercenary. His loyalty is for sale. Hey, and I have no respect for you, man. None.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? You know what? Hey, you know what?
Check this out, Theo. He's Judas. He got his 30 pieces of silver. He's Judas.
Yeah.
So I have no holler for him. And so if he wants to have a conversation, if he wants to have a debate about the Black Panther, I'm here for it. But he don't want that kind of smoke, because I'll read him up one wall and down the next, because he's wrong as two left shoes. You cannot do this to a character that led you to Black Lightning, to Vixen, to Luke Cage, to Falcon, to every Black character that you want to name comes from his tree.
What's his real
Abraham.
Name? What's his real name?
Jim Owsley.
So we got Jim, we got Cornell. What's Snoop's real name?
Calvin. Calvin.
You said we got Jim, we got Cornell, we got Calvin, we got DeAndre, we got Andre, we got O'Shea,
we got John,
we got Joseph. We got William. These names getting long because I'm not gonna do that. Like, if I rock with you, I'm gonna call you what it used to be. But when you act like that government name, I'm not gonna call you nothing else. Okay, Jim. I ain't okay.
No, I can't, because he wasn't just riding on the back of the bus. He was riding the short bus with this one. So there's no way.
He was in the back of the short bus and he wasn't an attendant.
Exactly. All by himself. So I cannot for the life of me understand why we still have to have these conversations about Black characters in the year 2025 with the political climate that we are in, and we have a Black writer who has an opportunity and a responsibility to do the right thing, and then he says, you know what, how much you paying me to do this? Okay, okay, listen, I'm gonna bend over, touch my toes. And
I'm just hoping it's circulating in the community that he's from, circulating to the neighborhood. Maybe gonna do something, donate something to the
Was
high
he at
school.
the Diddy parties? Just asking. Just asking.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna say it like this. You know what, bro? I'm like this. Got your paper. Like, and they paid you up front too. Like, and that's why I'm saying low key, I didn't got calm. Cause I'm like, because the other story to this could be, well, I knew damn good and well y'all was gonna be mad, but that's what they wanted me to write anyway. So I wrote it just to get this paycheck. Cause
All money
I know
ain't good
I
money.
didn't know y'all was gonna be that pissed off.
No, because I'm saying to myself,
All money ain't good money. You know
what I'm saying? Because I'm saying to myself, you knew damn good and well we wasn't gonna like it. You knew it. You knew we wasn't gonna like it. So you went and got that paper. Hey, bro, you know, hey.
You know that, hey.
And you knew it wasn't gonna make them no money. Watch this. Because they got to get their money back.
Watch this one. Remember the Batman.
There's a question for you right there, Mr. Smith. Now tell him, said, what kind of camera you got? Cause it's crispy and your video ain't froze once.
Oh, that's my and that's my phone, man. My phone is on point. It's that Z Fold. But here's the thing. Remember that.
Hold on, man. You ain't gonna phone shame me and Daryl. You're not gonna do that now. Don't do that.
Okay, my bad. But remember that Batman, the animated series, was it the Riddler or the Joker, where the guy had used the image to get an insurance claim, and he got all this money, but he had to live in fear for the rest of his life. And Batman was narrating that at the end, saying that yeah, he got his money, but how's he living? Because at night you saw him in his pajamas and he huddling around all scared with a shotgun. So Christopher Priest, yeah, you got your money, but you might have to be huddling around with a shotgun, metaphorically speaking. But you just sold out, bro. You sold out.
Listen, I'm finna help him out because Kingsville Bridges, right? Big Chris, CP. I'm sorry, Jim. This your boy Theo. I'm looking out for you. I'm finna give you the press release right now. Don't do what the character Tony Stark did in the first movie, go rogue. No. Say exactly what I'm finna tell you. Man, look, they came to me with this paper. They came to me with this paper and said, listen, we want you to do this. I looked, I laughed, I scoffed. And they said, nah, man, we want you to write it. I'm like, man, this ain't gonna make no money. They said, nah, man, with your name attached to it, it's gonna make all the money. I'm like, you know what? I done grown, I done matured. I'm gonna go ahead and get them for this bag because I'm gonna do something responsible with this bag. I know BP fans wasn't gonna F with it. They ain't stupid. I'm gonna get my paper up front. So you went and wrote this damn story. You know it ain't gonna do what it's gonna do. You didn't got your paper up front, but Marvel gotta get the company. They gotta get reimbursed. You know they're not gonna get reimbursed. I'm looking forward to you taking this money and doing something responsible with the community, where you come from, contributing to the Black community and everything like that. And in a few years time frame, we're gonna spin the block on this story, and you're gonna tell us that's exactly what the leak read. That's the press release.
Yeah, but the problem is, in the meantime, how do you come back from that though? See, so now your name is like JR. Your name is going to be mentioned with JR. And so when
he gonna have to come out sooner than later, then that's what he gonna have to do.
Because I'm gonna see his name attached to something. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm not buying it. I'll go buy a Bugs Bunny comic book. I don't even know if they still make them. But the problem is your name, your reputation is attached to this. And so now when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't for the life of me rock with whatever you do. No differently, and we'll segue to this. No, are they serious about putting Ryan Gosling as a Black Panther in the MCU?
No, that was trolling. That was done because that was one of the names that they were talking. It goes back to when Darren and I have.
They would do that before they came out with this comic book. Because and again, it harkens back to, and I don't mean to go off on a trope, but it harkens back to all the way back. What was it, like 22, 23, when we was talking about race swapping? And race swapping characters, and I thought it was a cool idea. Let's character.
I
Let's
tell
fuck
'em.
that character. And me and
All
Theo
that
got
gonna be
video
satisfied
after
till they
video,
get
I know. I
video
watched
on
them.
top of video while we said race swapping is a terrible idea.
kept saying
I
it.
watched them.
Hey,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
watched them.
But everybody, yeah, we need them
yeah,
make new characters. Don't mess up the
Exactly.
ones that's already out there. But no.
Wonder
listen,
Man.
you know what? I know I done said on so many occasions. They giving you the side characters. That's what they race swapping. When they come for ours, they gonna go get the one, and you gonna be mad. Don't say nothing then.
I remember that video, Theo. I remember that.
Don't say nothing then.
But
Hold up. Time out. Assure. Ain't nobody in this chat talking about no Spider-Man. If you want to continue to participate in this chat, you better get on cue. I don't mean to put you on blast, man, but take your pills or whatever the hell you need to do. Calm down. Yeah.
Yeah. So that be my thing right there. I'm like, I be looking at it, I'm like, hey, bro, like I don't think Christopher Priest is stupid. I'm sorry, Jim. I don't think Jim is dumb. And I'm like,
no, I don't think he is either.
I'm like,
he's a mercenary.
I don't. Well, to your point though. See, you can. All money ain't good money because now you can't necessarily. And I need people to understand something because folks try and get it to be where it's not so serious to us. There are certain writers that are white. There are certain fan bases of certain characters. They don't want that writer anywhere near that character. You're never gonna fix your mouth to tell those fan bases they're wrong. Whether you white, black, Jew, Gentile, you not, because those are white fan bases. So don't get it twisted where it can't be where fans that were offended by what John really did to T'Challa don't F with him point blank period going forward.
Exactly. And it's no different than back in the day, there was a writer called, not making this up, don't know if it was his real name, but D.G. Chichester. Remember him, D-Real?
Yeah, I do. Daredevil.
Yes. Nobody wanted him on Daredevil because he was horrible.
Yeah.
So
he was the one when he had that black suit.
Yeah, he was horrible. He was a horrible writer, man. And the only reason I remember him is because my buddy's favorite character was Daredevil. They had the same, DD. His name was Daryl Davis. So his favorite character was Daredevil. And he just would go off on D.G. Chichester because he had too much exposition. So to Priest's point, so it's okay for Daredevil have this all this exposition and he's talking in his head, but you couldn't make a way to make that work with T'Challa. Man, I don't care what you say. And so I'm going to go back to something I talked about before about Brian Michael Bendis when and this goes back to that video you had out before, D-Real. The writer can write the character any way he wants to. His whole Brian Michael Bendis, the reason I have so much vitriol for him, like I say, he's from my hometown, so I know him kind of well. He said that he couldn't see Jessica Drew talking that way, so he had to invent a character. That's how Jessica Jones was created to become Luke Cage's wife, because his whole point was to put Cage into an interracial relationship. Okay, why can't it be Jessica Drew then? Because that's who you originally said it was going to be. You know why? Because that fan base wasn't going to go for that. They white folks wasn't going to go for that. Why couldn't it be She-Hulk? Because they actually did go out on a date. Anybody remember that?
Heroes for Hire.
Luke Cage and exactly. So why couldn't it have been built upon that? But no, you said that you had to invent a character. You had to create a whole new character just in order to put her in this relationship. But you can't put two characters in a relationship that should be in a relationship, T'Challa and Aurora. But that's a whole nother story. We won't get into that. So, but you had to invent something. So I'm sorry, you can't play me like I'm stupid because I have a very good memory and I have all these comics downstairs. So you can't play me like what you said one time. And when I was on here the last time, I told you I wrote that comic. I wrote to Avengers West Coast. I think it's '94, and I asked them about having a black couple together, and I did James Rhodes and Monica Rambeau, and their response to me was they weren't. He was in a relationship with Ray LaCosta, and they weren't going to break him up with her just to hook him up with Monica. But y'all can create a whole new character to put Luke Cage with. So again, I have receipts. That's why they don't want to have conversations with me, because I have the receipts of what you told me and what you've shown me. And so if you thinking that I have a issue with interracial, no, you had Misty Knight and Danny Rand together. That was in the 70s. They have a problem with that. I thought he would have been better off with Colleen, but I was like, okay, you got him with Misty because y'all are going with that Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura thing. Okay, no problem.
Black fetish.
John Byrne did make it work too. John Byrne.
Yes.
I mean, don't get it twisted. But it was, to me, it was fetishism. Even 77.
Yeah, about that.
That's
Yep.
fetishism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to see the blonde hair, blue eyed dude with the black girl with the big old afro.
Exactly.
And the afro just tells on itself. So I want to make sure, like I said, to your point, Mr. Smith, all money ain't good money. It's your name that's attached to it.
Yep.
I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I call them Genus. I'm normalizing the phrase Genus going forward because that separates.
If you don't read Bitterroot, you do not at all.
So, and I'm doing that because I want people to understand when I'm speaking. I'm not speaking about everybody. So when I say Genu, no, I'm speaking about a very specific demographic.
And that's also if we want to go deeper with it, and if we want to even look at the religious ramification surrounding it, maybe it's not necessarily we had conflict with that person so much as we are the spirit
that he's operating out of.
So that is very much Genu.
That's why. Listen, that edutainment is his thing. That's why I'm going with that phrase. I'm not going. That's my word going forward. The thing what got me is it's the Genus. You got some Genus, and so what I don't. Like I said, I'm disappointed because I don't think he understands or fully appreciates because of comments that he's made. I would have liked to think that he would have grown past that. I can understand we can be one place, our mindset at a certain phase in our life, but you like to think you get older, you mature, you grow.
Exactly.
You're doing this and you're not understanding that this character's fan base ain't black. And I'm of the mindset that way too many people, the writer included, unless he's throwing a curveball. And when I say curveball, he did it just to get paid. He knows it's going to backfire. He's going to reinvest in his community. But still, it's going to damage you as the writer because nobody's going to know that unless you get out in front of that, which would ruin your credentials as a writer. So you're not going to say that. The thing is that how do you reconcile it knowing that you try to or maybe harm a black character because you're trying to hurt black people, but it's more than black people that care about this character. So when you damage your reputation, you're not just damaging your reputation with one black people. You're damaging your reputation with people that aren't black, people that are in powerful positions. You could be looking to go get a job and somebody could be like, well, I want to put you on a particular character, but I remember what you did with this one. And they could very well be a fan of Black Panther. What editor is going to hire you knowing this is what you did.
Well,
And you did
point, to your point, Theo, they're going to also have to think about. I'll give you an example, a good example, since Cleveland Browns. Everybody's looking at the Deshaun Watson thing, fiasco. Why would you do that? So now your name is sullied because of you are forever linked to this dude. We call it the Deshaun debacle. So now you're linked. So now you got to try to claw your way up out of that, and now you're making moves that you probably normally wouldn't make in order to try to get better PR. So I don't see a way forward for I almost call him JR because he reminds me so much of him. Christopher Priest, Jim Owsley. I don't see a way forward for him because his name is going to be attached forever to this. Because if you look at Black to the Future, that's a future storyline of the Black Panther with Storm.
One More Day.
You got all of these future stories with Black Panther, but he's with Storm. Now you want to come along and put him with some unknown Caucasoid and have a child with him. For what reason?
You know how it looks like that. I go back to this. You not stupid. You're aware. It's a statement out there. Hey, I know how it look. I just need people to give. Well, if you know how it look, why would you do it? Well, you know there were so many other stories out there to tell that folks would have readily grabbed onto. I'm sitting up here I'm like, bro, like I'm not the one folks need to be talking about. Well, you don't like Christopher Priest. No,
I like what he did.
I like some of the stuff that he did.
Yes,
which is why I'm asking, why the hell would he do this? This don't make no damn sense.
But see, you got to go back to the interviews. Like there's more. I mean, there's several interviews that he's done where he is just disparaging Black people. You know how we, ingest or take in comics and we read, and how our culture is perceived and taken. So he's not he's not the person that you think that he is. And they always say you don't want to meet your heroes. So people who have idolized him and put him on this pedestal, if you read his interviews and you start looking at it, objectively and take the scales off your eyes, you will see that this dude ain't for the people.
If he's still talking like that, still thinking like that, and that's where I'm like, that's why I go back to like, we've all been someplace, somewhere mentally, somewhere in our life. My guy, you cannot still be thinking like that. Like I'm sitting up here because I'm like, to Daryl's point, Daryl said it earlier. You want to sit back. Anytime I look at a writer, I'm like, okay, why are you making this move? Because I don't come at it just from the fan perspective. Because a lot of people wanted Dr. Eve Ewing to just put T'Challa back on the throne. I look at it from a writer's perspective. The story has to make sense.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to sacrifice the story just for the result. The story got to make sense. And so when I'm looking at him as a writer, you got a target audience. Anytime you're writing a story, you got a target audience.
Got a built-in audience.
Who is this for? Who is this story for? And I ask questions all the time. When you get ready to do something, who are you doing it for? When you look at the second Black Panther movie, the target audience was the Black female. What they thought was the Black female was stupid. She wasn't stupid. That's why the movie didn't generate. They didn't give two damns about the Black male. They got him. They checked him off for the first movie. We want the Black woman. The Black movie was no, I don't want to be pandered to. So you're doing a Black Panther book. This book needs to move units. Sell multiple copies. Juju, if I don't know if he's still here with us, would have been one of those people that would have been more than happy to buy multiple copies of the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
Flash by Night Marvel, Mr. Smith,
Mm-hmm.
you yourself, Night
Yep.
Teller. Hell, my brother Daryl would have bought multiple copies of the first
Mm-hmm.
issue. So I'm saying to myself, you know that's what you need for a comic book to be successful. Multiple copies of the first issue.
Absolutely.
You put out the solicit. We asked the editor. I did, C.B. Chabosky. No, that is what that is. So you can't get out in front and do damage control because you're so gung-ho that this is what's going to work. And I don't understand why. Like, who is your target audience for this? For this story? Who did you envision, regardless of how he feels about us as a people, as comic book fans? Once again, I say, Black Panther fans aren't all black. That's a misconception.
Yep.
Who was his target audience? This book is going to fail. Nobody's going to do what they did with John Ridley's run.
Look at what Kamayo said. And that's what I was thinking too, because of his color scheme. He could have did a cold. He could have did a Cold Tiger story. It was sitting right there, and you put the color scheme in there. That ain't accidental.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what does the very little bit we know about the Cold Tiger, what becomes of
it? And remember this, his girlfriend was pregnant. Have we seen anything that?
No, that's what I was like, bruh. It ain't. You can't sit up here and fake the funk and act like we don't give a damn about the characters you create and the stories that you read. What happened to Casper's mother? Where is his fiance at? Last week knew she was carrying this damn child. Where is he at? Last week knew T'Challa had given him a new suit, you know, with some net weapons on it. Ain't got no name. That's your damn character.
Yep. So that's the point that to spin this all back, you should build upon what was already developed instead of trying to come up with these new crazy angles for this character, because it's not working. That's the reason why he can't keep an ongoing title in the 616, because every time someone starts, they start over. What, to Eve Ewing's credit, what she did was she tried to build on the crap that she was given, and she said that. That's not me just putting that out there. She said, because you remember this deal because you spoke on it. You remember it, D, because you spoke on it. She said when she got the last issue, she laughed. When she got his last issue of his run, she laughed at it. And we were all trying to figure out, well, was that a good laugh or a bad laugh? What kind of, well, we know what kind of laugh it was. Because it was crap. And she had to build on that. And so the problem is she should not have had to build on his nonsense. He should have built on Ta-Nehisi's run. But he didn't. He wanted to do something else. And he had regular Joe Blows putting hands on T'Challa and taking the L's in every book. And he's got the heart-shaped herb in his system.
Hey, I'm telling you, I don't.
And so now, Christopher Priest, you are now in the same category as JR. Congratulations.
I don't get it. I don't.
Wow, boy, that's a long fall. That's a long fall.
I don't. I'm gonna tell you, I don't get it. Like I said, I don't get it because I'm like, you know, we hear a lot of stuff. You know, you can get caught up in stuff. Folks don't like the character because 2 white men created the character. They ain't stopping you from liking every other character.
Nope.
I don't like the character because he's from Africa. That diaper comment and bone through the nose was a wild statement for me. So we got this whole division and everything like that. So I don't want to like. It's almost like, and you don't want it to be like that, but it's like, I'm a black man. I don't want to like this character. because it's a black African character. Because I can't explain the character that, you know, while not being technically Superman, is by and large our Superman. Our Batman, our Spider-Man, whatever you want, however you want to put it. That's our top guy. And so I don't understand the top guy who got everything going for him. You can say what you want to about the white dudes that created him. God damn, like they didn't know, not off the street. No, you running stuff. Like and you the most, and you didn't want the Fantastic Four ass. And that's the first damn superhero team. That was their first thing. Then they bring you in whooping their ass. It's almost as if, and it's too damn, it sounds retarded to say it, is if real black men are intimidated, got an issue with this black fictional character. Like you can't live up to his standards, so you got to bring him down to yours.
Yes.
That's wild to me. That's backwards. Ryan Coogler did that stunt nonsense, and I can't explain it because he wasn't even raised in that type of household. Does that mean he didn't do a great job with Sinners? No, he did an excellent job with Sinners. They ain't got nothing to do with this over here. Nate Moore and John Ridley are educated college dudes. Like I'm not.
Okay, let's just say they're college dudes. Well, I won't give them educated though.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna look at who you married to. You got an education. I'm looking at John Ridley. Not John Ridley. I'm looking at this dude, Jim. Bro, you too old for this. You grew up in America. And you are able to speak to a degree on the issues surrounding the black community. The hero that you wrote back then ain't that hero now. That hero has evolved into something that people are now looking at as the antithesis to all the problems you were talking about in the black community. What in the world would make you? Because I can't believe you don't know. The hell would make you? No, and I don't believe nobody else asked him. Damn, all the other interviews he been on. No, somebody no. I need the question. No, hell no, hell no. That don't make no damn sense.
Nope, it doesn't.
It belies common sense. This is not what any comic book fan, let alone any Black Panther fan, wanted, and you know it. You're not stupid.
Self-sabotage.
You're not stupid.
and so, you know, you get what your hand called for. So when you get all the backlash and people not wanting to buy or stay around for issue 3, don't come crying. Don't say, well, I was forced to do it. You weren't forced to do anything, brother. You chose to do it. So, you know.
Well, the bottom line, and here is the bottom line. From what I am hearing on this panel, from what I am seeing in the media, Christopher Priest has done irreparable damage to his reputation as a writer. I am confident that Black Panther will live through this. However, I do not think Christopher Priest is going to fare so well. I think overall, he just 100% underestimated the loyalty of the base. Black Panther fan.
Damn character he wrote got a damn helmet.
So because of that, the next time we see him, he might be on a project that we might really want to check out, but our bias is going to keep us from checking it out because of the world to come. So,
man, you better not touch another black superhero. That's what I'm at.
Hey, he is not invited.
No, you good, dog.
He can't come to the cookout.
No, you only get one time. This 2025.
Is Don McGregor still invited?
Yes.
Yeah, he is right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Don McGregor still covered. Don McGregor is responsible for the first interracial kiss in mainstream comics.
Absolutely.
Know that.
Listen,
I watched your video.
Yeah.
Daryl.
He is responsible. He also had a comic book about a black character that he's more like a pirate, but he looked like Black Dynamite. His name was Saber.
I got that because one of you guys had told me. I think it was you. You had told me about that, and I got Acolyte too. I finally got my issues of Acolyte because you told me about it.
See how we roll?
How you feel about Acolyte?
Man, listen, like you
See how
said,
we
man,
roll?
we're not gonna stay stuck on stupid. If you don't want to give me what I want, there's other options.
And can I say this? I'm speaking on behalf of me and Daryl because we've been inundated the past few days with crazy behind requests. We're in the black characters.
Mm-hmm.
Stop talking to me about an independent comic book. Talk to me about the black comic book.
I'm holding a black character that's independent
whether,
right now.
Whether the comic book is from the big two or independent, talk to me about the character, the comic book featuring the black character. Don't come talking to me about no independent comic book and it's got a whole bunch of other people in it. No. I'm checking for chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Do look at the room. Look at the room to observe. Stop coming on our live. Well, y'all need to get you need this because see, you can't say we not messing with black characters. See, that's where it is. You can't say we're not dealing with, you can't say we're not checking for black characters. So then you want to change the narrative and say, well, you're not checking for independent, and you can't say we're not checking for black independent characters because that's a lie.
But
so
it will always be it would always be goalpost raising. And
that's
right. So you just want to say
we went through this years ago. We went through this a couple years ago. They're gonna always raise the goalpost. First, it was you ain't covering enough black characters. But then when you start covering black characters in Marvel and DC, you ain't covering enough independent black characters.
We're not doing that no more.
Then when you start covering independent characters, you ain't covering enough independent characters over here.
Yeah,
you know
no.
We ain't finna do Dr. Seuss. We ain't finna do Dr. Seuss. It ain't finna be over here, over there, on a boat with a goat, in a house with a fox. We ain't finna do all of that, man. If I'm covering it, I'm covering it. If I ain't
not
covering
doing
what
all
you
that.
like, then ask me to cover what you like. But don't tell me I don't cover it. You know what I'm saying? That's the any and everybody.
I'm gonna hurt feelings going forward because I like it. I don't mind it because y'all be coming on my lives doing that. I be crunk. I be to have me a cup of coffee. So I don't know why we be wanting that smoke. So no, we cover black characters.
Yes,
whether
you do.
They from the big two, whether they from independent. When you talking to us about black characters. Don't let the first words out your mouth be ending nothing. It better be black, African American. It better start with one of the words. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't give two damns about the independent comic. You can take that how you want to. What I give a damn about is the representation of us in the independent big two comics. So I'm only checking for us primarily, regardless of who they made the damn character. So don't come over here on my brother's live, on my live, say anything else that's gonna get your yam cakes tore out the frame.
Hey, just like every mainstream comic from Marvel, DC, and don't take this no kind of way. Every comic from Marvel, DC, and Image ain't good.
That's right.
Some of them joints suck.
But they still go.
And you don't see me covering every single one of those books in that same way. You may have an independent comic. The question is
it any good?
Have a good
independent
comic. Don't bring me your independent comic and say cover this, and that's just trash. You know what I'm saying? And hey, they know who they are. I'm just saying. You don't cover that. Everything ain't worth covering. Ooh, can your ego cope with that? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, hey,
listen. I'm not y'all. If you want me and Daryl to be stands, glaze you, then there's a way for that to happen. Right now, we're telling truth. I don't want to say we can't be bought, but you can't act like.
Hey, I tell him like I told him, hey, you want me to review your book? Send me a copy. You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
we don't want to act like that.
I'm being honest. I'm gonna keep it in the book. If you want me to review your book, send me a copy of your book. If you want me,
I told Daryl
if you
today.
don't care nothing about my review, don't send me no book.
I told Daryl today, Mr. Smith. I said, I'm probably costing myself a lot of money with Marvel Unlimited. As much as I be talking about them, I probably didn't cost myself a sponsorship deal.
Like, hey, isn't that hard?
You can't say you use them as a source just to tear them down. Well, man, damn it, I think it would be a something that he using it.
Right.
He using it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I ain't saying. I'm just saying. But hey,
look here.
It is what it is.
We about 2 hours 15 minutes in. Mr. Smith, this is your opportunity right now to plug whatever you want to plug. Tell us what you're reading. Tell us what you're messing with. Tell us what you're doing. What's going on with you, sir? Before we part the airwaves.
I'm working on a book. I told Theo this. He loves the title. I'm almost done, Theo. It's called Pimps in the Pulpit, Prostitutes in the Pews. And it's about how pastors are pimping people, telling them that they have to give them X amount of dollars in order to stay in good standing. And that's BS. That's not scripture. Christians were never told to tithe. And I'm proving that in the book. So I would like the Rock With Me Nation to get a copy when it comes out, because you'll be surprised what people tell you is scripture, but it's not. And all I will tell you is this: if Jesus called it the law and we're not under the law, we're under grace, don't argue with me about tithing being a Christian doctrine, because if Jesus called it the law, facts, it's fact. So that's what I'm working on. And I'm working on, after that, I'm going to be working on another book called From Reservations to Redlining, Race Relations in America. I want to show how they went and used a lot of the playbook, how they treated Native Americans, and ran that same playbook with us. Because a lot of people don't realize that the United States, well, they weren't the United States then, but they tried to, they did enslave the Native Americans before they even brought us here, before they enslaved Africans. And they couldn't get away with it because they knew the land better than the Europeans did. So at night they would just run away. And the ones and if they would shackle them, they still couldn't force them to work because they would rather die than be slaves to them. So they would kill them and say, this ain't working. So what can we do? So when they came up with the reservation syndrome, redlining is just a modern reservation. And so that's what I'm going to be working on as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that redlining stagnated opportunities for generational wealth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so the next time somebody come to me and say, why don't black people have, or why aren't black people able to do? Well, there was no systematic curtailing of their ability to do so. That's why those people were able to do that.
Exactly.
When we did it, they burned it to the ground.
Burned it to the ground. And I want to touch on that.
Don't get me started, though. We go for another 2 hours. Anyway, Theo, bruh, what you got going this weekend? I know you got something. I know you got something going.
I was supposed to have comic reviews. I mean, I don't want folks thinking I ain't did Storm, I ain't did Imperial, I ain't did Absolute Green Lantern, I ain't did Bitterroot. No, those scripts are ready to go. You just got to do videos. I just, it's one of those things where I don't want us overreacting when it comes to certain stuff, and I know we can be passionate about stuff. So if we could just not get some more nonsense, I can get to the comic book reviews. But if we get some more late breaking news, I might feel compelled, moved by the spirit per se, to come out and address the nonsense. So if not, then yeah, we got those comic book reviews coming this weekend.
What about you, D?
Oh, okay. Couple things. First,
Guilty.
if you are familiar, that is issue 1 of Tuskegee Air's Flames of Destiny. But if you look a little bit closer, that Tuskegee Air's Flames of Destiny has the autographs of one Marcus Williams and Greg Burnham on it. So that's what I've been doing with that. And in honor of Greg, I am going to be reviewing The Search for Sadika, 0 issue and issue 1. So I don't think a lot of people know about that story, but it's basically a story about a little girl who is fleeing from the Tulsa massacre.
Ooh.
And she's got like a dragonfly familiar that is guiding her through her journey / escape, and she's also pretty proficient with a bow staff. So we will introduce y'all to Sadika this weekend.
Thank you, appreciate that.
That's what's up, yeah.
But Rock With Me Nation, over to yonder. Thank you for ponying up and pulling up and tapping in. Mr. Ray Smith, as always, thank you for dropping
no problem.
And knowledge and sharing with us the thoughts that are on your mind about the comic book with the James Bond movie sounding title. I appreciate you pulling up, bro.
No problem, man.
Rock With Me Nation pulling up. Also, again, I want to reiterate, June 20th, we will have Mr. Joe Illich back on the show, and we will be covering his Image Universe title, Bloodletter, among other things. Remind me, Theo, so I can shoot that link to you so you can check the book out.
Please and thank you. Thank
you.
Hey, so we can do that. Do what we do.
Also, y'all could take this time to pull up and ask Mr. Illich how he feels about the book with the James Bond movie title. If you want to get the opinion of an actual writer, you know what I'm saying, what their thoughts are, that would be a good time to do it. And it's going to be at a special time too, because whoever his appointment, he can't do it after 9 p.m. So we're gonna be going in a little earlier. I got press stuff out on X and everywhere else. So if you ain't got it, holla at me. I'll send something to you. Thank y'all again for rocking with us. That is it for now, but fret not, we'll be coming at you with another one of the other ones. And until we do, y'all be good to each other.